Okay, you may start.
So my topic is, what is Seva? In treatise Siddhanta Muktavali, Sri Vallabhacharya has categorized two types of services referring to the stage of a devotee. The two types of seva is Phalrup Mansi Seva and Sadhana Rup Tanuvitija Seva. When a devotee is fully attached to Sri Krishna with affection and without any type of attachment of mind, it is known as Phalrup Mansi Seva. When the service is done in a state of contemplation or in the form of fruit, it is known as Mansi Seva. For example, there was a miser who performed Mansi Seva for Sri Krishna's service. He was making kheer through his imagination, and in his Mansi Seva, he accidentally added too much sugar, and that's when his Mansi Seva became Phalrup Seva, because Sri Krishna himself stopped him from taking out the extra sugar. As soon as Sri Krishna accepted his seva, it became Phalrup Seva. Another form of service is Sadhana Rup or Tanuvitija Seva. Sadhana means an instrument. The service which is under the instrumental stage is called Sadhana Rup Seva. This is also known as Tanuvitija.
Just correct one thing. We are not mentioning it as a form of seva. It is just a stage of seva.
Okay.
In the initial stage, it is sadhan rupa, or in the instrumental period when we are learning, and the same seva turns into phalrupa when we develop the feeling of devotion and extreme love towards Bhagavan. So these both are just stages. They are not different forms.
Oh, okay. Tanu means body and Vit means wealth. This service is done using the devotee's body, wealth, and is done in their own house. This stage is known as an instrumental stage because at the start of the application of mana, intensity of love remains at a low level. At the time of initiation, a declaration is made by the devotee. For countless years I have been separated from my beloved Lord Krishna, and that has brought me not only of the pangs of separation, which a healthy soul, as a rule, ought to feel, but also of the infinite joy that I had in his company. Here I laid down at his lotus feet my body, sense, organs, vital breath, and my mind, together with their various functions. I also laid down my beloved, my house, my progeny, my relatives, my wealth, together with my worldly as well as other worldly belongings. Not only these, but I also laid down even my very self. Henceforth, O Lord Krishna, I, your humble servant, am absolutely yours. This oral dedication for Sri Krishna is called Nivedana, which is a form of declaration. As stated in the declaration, all those objects are dedicated to Sri Krishna's service and in the use of worshipping him. This is called Samarpan. Those who have received Brahm Sambandh cannot use objects that are not dedicated to Sri Krishna. In the Siddhanta Rahasya, Sri Vallabhacharya has given the instructions of the dedication of all belongings. As stated in the scriptures, Nivedati Samarteva Sarva Kriya Ditistati, meaning, it is a rule to be observed that a person who has dedicated himself to Sri Krishna should take in his use any object and should do any work only after dedicating them to Sri Krishna. Tasmat Dado Sarva Karya Sarva Vastu Samarpanam, meaning, at the outset of any work, therefore, all objects should be dedicated to Sri Krishna. This dedication of one's all belongings that is instructed in the treatise of Siddhanta Rahasya is the very purport of Tanuvitija Seva. Sri Vallabhacharya has explained that Tanu means body and Vit means wealth, but all the other materials are left undedicated. So the meaning of this word does not only mean body and wealth, it includes senses, family, houses, and etc. If someone does not perform the service himself and performs it through someone else, they should be called the master, not the servant. This also applies if the person performs seva against their own will. Therefore, Tanuja Seva and Vitija Seva cannot be treated as a service. Thus, if a worship is performed as instructed by Sri Krishna, then only devotee can reach the higher stage of service, Mansi Seva, from the stage of instrumental service, Sadhana Rup Tanuvitija Seva. Performer of Tanuja Seva becomes a sinner or Devlaka according to the scriptures, one who makes money through the service of Bhagwan. Performer of Vityaja service becomes a partaker in the sinful businesses of selling service. Both services performed separately are anti-doctrinal in the South. One should never give anything or take anything in the name of the service of God. Every devotee should worship Sri Krishna not in public but in their own homes using their own body and wealth. This is the only truthful way of service. I'm done.
Yeah. You may explain the current context also.
I don't get it.
I mean, Mahaprabhuji is explaining us that the real form of seva is Tanuvittaja, in which both the forms of seva are combined and not divided into two parts, or they are not options. But nowadays, when we are propagating the seva, then people say that Tanuja and Vittaja are optional. It means if you want to do Tanuja, you can do Tanuja. It means just by your body. And if you are not able to perform seva by your body, then you may provide money to us in the form of Vittaja seva. So this is how we are propagating.
Sorry to interrupt, Raja, but we still have to learn this topic from today.
Sorry. Right. Fine.
That's all. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Fine. So just understand it for now, as you had the subject of the two types of seva. That when Mahaprabhuji explains us that we have to perform Tanuvittaja seva, it means that the seva must be performed with our own body, at our own place, with our own family members, and with our own money. But for nowadays, when we are propagating seva, so because of our selfish motives or for accumulating money out of seva, people are explaining, or the Goswami Balak, the descendants of Mahaprabhuji, who are technically guru, they explain that Tanuja and Vittaja seva are optional. It means if you are able to perform seva by your body, then provide your body, not that at your home but to us. It means perform seva here, Tanuja seva by your body. And for example, if you are not having time or you are not able to spare energy for performing Tanuja seva, then you may perform Vittaja seva, in which you can just provide us money and seva will be performed by us. So this is how we are misinterpreting the words of Mahaprabhuji, or intentionally we are doing so for accomplishing our selfish motives. So we have to understand it clearly that when Mahaprabhuji is saying Tanu Vittaja seva, then he means that our own body, our own family and our own money must be used in the seva of Shri Thakurji at our own place, at our own house, no, not somewhere else. And we cannot divide the seva into two parts, otherwise we cannot get our chitta being concentrated in Bhagwan. I hope you understood.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So we have to continue. Are all of you done with the presentation?
Ji Raja, everyone is done now.
Fine. So let me tell all of you one thing, that we started this presentation in the context of Sri Mahaprabhuji's Janma Jayanti, and we find that there are many other ways for celebrating the Janma Jayanti of Mahaprabhu Shri Vallabhacharya, who is our Guru and propagator of our Sampradaya. And we find many people around us who celebrate the Janma Jayanti of Sri Mahaprabhuji in many of the ways. But for us, when Mahaprabhuji is our Guru and Acharya, the only way of celebrating the Janma Jayanti of Sri Mahaprabhuji and the only way in which he can be satisfied is to celebrate his words, celebrate his teachings, and to implement them in our life. So, since many years, with the blessings and inspiration from Pujya Shri Shyamkakaji, we have been celebrating all the festivals of our Acharya, or the Janmotsav of Mahaprabhuji, Gosaiji, Gopinathji, or our other revered Acharyas also, by reading their teachings, by following their teachings, by making others learn what Sri Mahaprabhuji has to explain us. So just by dancing or singing or having food and a party-like environment on the name of Mahaprabhuji's Janma Jayanti is never a better and never a good way. And this is not the way by which Mahaprabhuji can ever feel satisfied. So the only way by which we can have some satisfaction or we can provide happiness to Sri Mahaprabhuji is the way of celebrating his Janma Jayanti, his Janmotsav, by celebrating with his teachings, learning his teachings, implementing them in our life, and expressing our gratitude to him for giving us a path to reach near Krishna. So I'm very glad that even you people participated in this sort of celebration, and that's a good initiative from our part. Fine. Who has the turn today? We can start with the subject we had left from.
I'm reading today.
Okay.
Should I begin by giving a summary of the class we had before we gave the summaries?
Yes.
Okay. So during our last class, we learned of the two stages that a devotee must undertake in order to attain Bhagwan. The first stage is called sadhana rup, where we do seva with our body, mind, and all of our material objects. This includes our complete mental attention and devotion, as well as everything we own. With the feeling of surrender, we do seva every day in order to reach a state where our entire being and all of our thoughts are only about Bhagwan and how we may serve him. But even after doing this, our mind may still waver from our path. With the Krupa of Bhagwan, we may attain a state called Phalrup, where all distractions cease and our entire existence becomes an instrument for seva, and we feel joyful in this stage. This stage can only be attained with the blessings of Bhagwan, and we continue to do Tanuvitaja Seva, which has been elevated to a single-pointed devotion. We also learned of three types of karma: Sanchit, Prarabdha, and Kriyaman karma. Sanchit karma refers to the karma that we have stored up throughout our various lives and that we haven't used yet. Prarabdha karma refers to the karma that Bhagwan has assigned to us for this particular life, and Kriyaman karma is the karma that we are currently accumulating by doing good or bad deeds. So I'll start reading now. Tanuvitaja, dedication of everything. At the time of receiving initiation, declaration is made by the devotee to dedicate his body, home, family, wealth, etc., along with his soul to Sri Krishna. For countless years, I've been separated from my beloved Lord Krishna, and that has robbed me not only of the pangs of separation, which a healthy soul, as a rule, ought to feel, but also of the infinite joy that I had in his company. Here, I lay down at his lotus feet my body, sense organs, vital breath, and my mind, together with their various functions. I also lay down my beloved, my house, my progeny, my relatives, and my wealth, together with all my worldly as well as otherworldly belongings. Not only these, but I also lay down even my very self. Henceforth, O Lord Krishna, I am your humble servant, am absolutely yours. Such oral dedication that is performed before Sri Krishna is called Nivedan, declaration. When all these orally dedicated objects are taken in use of the worship of Sri Krishna, it is called Samarpan, dedication. Until they are dedicated in the service of Sri Krishna, the orally dedicated objects remain as undedicated. May it not be forgotten that those who have received Brahma Sambandh have to stop using objects that are undedicated. So, as a summary, in this paragraph, the Nivedan mantra is explained, which we always say during the time of Rajbhog. This explains the true feeling that a devotee must have when doing seva, where the devotee acknowledges that he or she has been separated from Bhagwan for countless years, and thereby does not understand or experience closeness with Bhagwan. Due to I-ness and my-ness, the devotee cannot fully experience the joy of being close to him. Therefore, to remedy the situation, the devotee must dedicate everything, such as his mind, body, family members, and wealth to Bhagwan. Once such a samarpan is done, everything becomes surrendered to Bhagwan. So the mantra is a nivedan, or a request to Sri Krishna to accept this surrender of ours. Should I keep reading or allow others to summarize?
No. So the thing is here is that we have forgotten our relation with Bhagwan. We have forgotten our duties. It means, as Mahaprabhuji mentions in his scripture written, the name is Pushtipravah Maryada Bhed. There Mahaprabhuji explains that the Pushti beings are created for performing Rupa Seva of Bhagwan. It means the only intention behind creating the Pushti beings, or behind the special nature of Kripa or blissfulness of Bhagwan, is that Bhagwan wants all the Pushti beings to perform his Seva. So this is what the intention of our existence is. And as we have forgotten that intention, we have forgotten the motive of our life, and we were engaged in all the other activities rather than performing seva of Sri Thakurji. Then Sri Mahaprabhuji incarnated with the blessings of Bhagwan, and when Mahaprabhuji was thinking that how to make all these beings relate with Bhagwan, Bhagwan appeared in front of Mahaprabhuji on the midnight of Pavitra Ekadashi and explained him that you may initiate the beings by giving this mantra, the Brahma Sambandh mantra, which is given him by Bhagwan himself. So Bhagwan said that you may initiate the beings by this mantra, and whoever will be dedicating everything to me, I will accept his devotion and will ignore the other bad qualities, even if they are in that being. So in this mantra, what we have to do, or what we speak, is that I was considering, we used to consider that everything belongs to us and we are independent beings here. But Mahaprabhuji explains that we are no one, everything belongs to Bhagwan, and Bhagwan is the only master of each and every material in this whole universe. So wrongly we consider that things belongs to us, and therefore, being a devotee, being a slave of Bhagwan, from this very day, the day we got initiated, whatever belongs to us is for Bhagwan first. And being a slave, we have to live our whole life considering Bhagwan as our master and using all the materials which are used by Bhagwan. And therefore our whole life belongs to Bhagwan now, and we are meant for the seva of Sri Thakurji only and nothing else. This is what we realize, and this is what we commit by our initiation. This is just a proclamation of our love and devotion towards Bhagwan.
Ji Raja. Should I continue reading?
Yeah.
Okay. In treatise Siddhant Rahasya, Sri Vallabhacharya has given instruction of dedication of all belongings. Nivadibihi samarpaiva sarvam karyad iti stitihi. Meaning, it is a rule.
Repeat after me. Nivedibihi. You may repeat after me.
Okay.
Nivedibihi samarpyaiva
samarpaiva
pyaiva Yeah. Sarvam kuryat iti sthitihi tasmat adau sarvakarye sarvavastu samarpanam.
Meaning, it is a rule to be observed that a person who has dedicated himself to Sri Krishna should take in his use any object and should do any work only after dedicating them to Sri Krishna. At the outset of any work, therefore, all objects should be dedicated to Sri Krishna. This dedication of one's all belongings that is instructed in the treatise of Siddhant Rahasya is the very purport of Tanu Vitaja Seva. So, in this paragraph, we learn in Siddhant Rahasya by Sri Vallabhacharya, the instructions for Samarpan. He explains that before we utilize any object or do any work, we must dedicate it to Bhagwan. This ties in with the concept of I-ness and minus, as by dedicating our objects to Sri Krishna, we render them divine, and thus give these objects a divine I-ness and minus. Should I continue?
Yeah. So main thing which Mahaprabhuji wants to explain is that materials we own, they don't belong to us. Our own soul, even it is not what we are misunderstanding it as. It means for now, what are the identities which we consider that we are a child of our parents or we belong to this country and this society and etc. So these are the identities which we develop or which we feel. But Mahaprabhu explains us that all these are false identities. Your soul is a servant of Bhagwan and Bhagwan is your master. So the only goal of your life or the only intention and motive must be of performing seva of Sri Thakurji. And whatever material you have, everything belongs to Bhagwan, and therefore we can dedicate it to Bhagwan, and this is how we express our love towards Bhagwan. And as you said, that we develop the divine I-ness and minus in our own self and even in all the materials which belongs to us. It means this is the basic format of Tanu Vitaja Seva. It means when we are performing seva, the seva must be performed in this format of Samarpan. There is no seva without Samarpan and there is no Samarpan without seva. Both are totally interrelated. They cannot be separated. These are both are the concepts which are interrelated.
Ji Raja.
I think we may conclude here for today. We won't be able to switch with the next subject. We'll be learning it tomorrow.
Okay. Dhanvat pranam, Raja.
Dhanvat pranam.
Dhanvat pranam.